I came to church all prepared to celebrate Pentecost. I have my finger symbols, I have a triangle, I have rattles, I have bells, I have a kazoo. I even have a celebratory hair ornament, and I have my food. But I don't feel like celebrating this year. I mean, what are we supposed to do? Celebrate Pentecost, which happened around 2,000 years ago. And, the Feast of Weeks, the Feast of Pentecost, this was like a huge event that took place about 50 days after the Passover. And the Passover that we all know about is what Jesus and his disciples were celebrating during the Last Supper. That's Maundy, Thursday. Anyway, the Feast of Weeks, or Pentecost, was when the Jews came from all over the known world to Jerusalem to celebrate God's gift of the law to the Jews. And what happened? Well, we know the story, right? The Holy Spirit came just as Jesus said it would, and there were tongues of flame and wind that blew, and the uneducated Galileans started speaking in other languages, the same languages that other Jews who were listening spoke from around their known world, talking all about God, and wow, it was a powerful day. I say, good for them, great, fabulous, but that was then, and this is now. Okay. Do you see a tongue of flame sitting on my shoulder? Am I still speaking English? Yeah. Do you see a breeze blowing? Tom, turn off the fan. Okay, where was I? Right. Oh yes, we're supposed to celebrate an event that happened a really long time ago and get excited all about it. And hey, get those words off the screen.
The birth of the church is a big deal.
Well, yeah, the birth of a church is a big deal, but the church was born, okay? We all know that. It happened a long time ago. Now we're here. Well, Tom and I are here, and there's no one else here. And that's part of why I'm just so blah about one of my favorite Sundays of the year. We're alone in this pandemic. Well, not completely alone, because there are computers that connect us and all that. But it's just been too long of not meeting one another in church, of not seeing one another's faces without a mask, of having to be so darn careful every time you go to the grocery store or to the doctors or wherever, because there could be some invisible deadly disease lurking in a person beside us or in the air around us. And I know we're getting vaccines. It just seems to be taking forever. And summer is coming, and it's stressful. I'm done with it all. I'm going to go home and just sit in a chair and moan about it all.
Well, that sounds like fun.
Well, do you have a better plan, God? Unless, you're planning to liven things up right now by sending a little flame of fire that burns without actually burning me, or a wind when the doors and windows are all closed, or maybe I could suddenly start speaking another language that I've never heard of before, so that someone who hears this sermon will realize that you're God. Okay, well, there you go. Another Pentecost, and I don't have a sign. And I'm alone and miserable and pining away because of COVID-19.
Do you expect the same signs of the Holy Spirit that were given to a particular people at a particular time in history?
Well, it wouldn't hurt, would it? And one year, I did experience the wind of the Holy Spirit. Do you remember that? A group of us was all gathered together to focus on God for a weekend, and we were praying around crosses, and we were asking God for forgiveness. And then all of a sudden, there was a wind in a circular motion, and I pinched myself because I didn't think it could really be real. But yeah, so I have experienced that wind that couldn't have been, and yet it was. So I do know your signs still happen, God. Now, I've never experienced a flame that doesn't burn, or speaking a language I don't know, or even hearing someone else speak a language they don't know. But there's a first time for everything.
Do you expect the same signs of the Holy Spirit that were given to a particular people at a particular time in history?
Okay, hey, that's the same question as before, God. You know, you had a burning bush for Moses. My, wasn't he lucky? You had a pillar of fire for the Hebrew people when they were fleeing Egypt, like a whole big pillar. My, weren't they inspired by you? You sent a chariot of fire to dramatically take Elijah to heaven, and how amazing would that be? But I'm not really ready for heaven right now. So how about just one teeny tiny flame in my hand right now? Okay, see, nothing. Yeah, how come they get a sign and we don't?
When you were trying to write this sermon, what happened?
Well, that's private, isn't it? Okay, I had writer's block. I couldn't come up with a sermon at all. I thought of a million things and nothing. It was just, started getting worried that I wouldn't actually have a sermon to preach today. So then I prayed, and then the sermon came right after that, and the ideas started flowing, and that's how the sermon was written. Okay, so maybe I'm speaking your words in this sermon, but that's not exactly a sign, is it?
What did you do on Wednesday night?
What is this? The sermon of many questions? I did Bible study, of course. Yeah, they're a pretty amazing group. Yeah. You know, so keen to learn and with lots of compassion for those who are suffering. While I definitely feel your love and care there, that's no question, and I think everyone in the Bible study does. And then my family dropped off food to be taken to the homeless kids and housing precarious kids in downtown Ottawa, and my heart was really moved to be able to help. And as I thought about those kids, I was so glad that our family could do our part and help out. And it wasn't just my heart that was moved, a bunch of people's hearts were moved. A bunch of people helped out with joy. Wait, you're tricking me, God. Stop laughing. Okay, so it is funny. You are definitely in that Bible study group, and you are definitely in the response of our church to feed hungry kids who need not only to eat, but to know that people care, and they need a new chance at life. If lots of people help out in the Ottawa area, well, those kids can have a future. Are those things kind of like signs that the Holy Spirit is working to unify our church and help those in need? Wait, I can answer this one on my own. Yes, they are signs. The Holy Spirit is the one who builds up community with a heart for those in need. And when our hearts are open to you, God, and to one another, and our hearts extend out to the world around us, we can be sure that the Holy Spirit is the glue that inspires what we do and binds us all together. Now, I'm also thinking about things like the plant cell, where many people outside our church community were moved to donate plants, and in the process our wider community came a bit closer together and relationships were built a little more. And we need the relationships both inside and outside of the church so we can find out where needs are and build community where we can. And the clothing and clutter drop-off stuff, where we go through all the donated boxes and bags so we can pull out what is needed by people and organizations so that we can help so many people first, and then we make enough money on the leftovers to keep the church going. That's the Holy Spirit at work too. And as I'm thinking, there are so many more signs of the Holy Spirit in our church, like they are...
Carolyn, I've heard when you get going. We don't have time for a long list right now.
Okay. All right. He's probably right. But you get the idea, right? What I have to say now is, wow, God, we have Holy Spirit stuff going on loud and strong. And who needs the flame and the wind and speaking in different languages? Though I must admit, it might be really kind of neat to listen to someone speaking another language or do it myself. Anyway, who needs all this when we have clear signs right now that you are with us, helping us to create community as we love our neighbors and one another, and all in COVID-19. Okay, so I'm here alone with Tom taping, but I'm not really alone. God, you are with me. And through the Holy Spirit, you are creatively creating community around me through the church's COVID-19 safe events, through Zoom, during phone calls, and so much more. We are deepening our community and our relationship with you, even through all this really difficult period where COVID-19 is keeping us physically apart. And thanks, God. And okay, I'm in the mood to celebrate. This day is definitely worth celebrating. God is continuing to transform and renew our churches, to build community, to help us be God's blessings to those around us. I think I'm going to enjoy this brownie now and have a sort of mini party. Hey, Tom, come on, let's celebrate. I'll pray first. God, thank you so much for sending us the Holy Spirit. Thanks for building us up into community day by day, event by event, for working through us in new ways, through recreating church in new ways. You're awesome. Help each of us to get on board wherever you call us to be and whatever you call us to do, and let the Holy Spirit work through us to renew, heal, connect, and reconnect. Each of us is one, but together we are many. And joined in heart and mind with you, we can do great things for you. Amen.